Okay, we're back. For the first time, we get to do a follow-up video. This is the dump args issue in pwndbg that I looked at in the last video, and I sent it a pull request, and I actually got some comments back for some changes that a maintainer wants made. And so we're going to go through those in this video. I've actually done one round already. There was an initial comment that was on the format that I was generating the argument, specifically asking to include the original integer value as well. I think that makes total sense. The new format was actually kind of not including the information that was there previously. And so I've already made that change and updated the format function that I had and pushed that. But then I got another round of comments. But I think this is worth going through. There generally seems to be some optimism towards this change. So I think it's likely that we can get something submitted. And we will see if we can go through all the other comments. So the first comment is actually kind of an interesting one, basically just saying, does it make sense to call chain.format if there's flags at all? And the maintainer's recommendation is actually similar to code that we had in the interim in the prior video, and then I actually refactored it to move the flags argument to chain.format. And so I think this is actually a simplification, and the expression here, yeah, is very similar to what we had before. It does say that format flag should be in some module. And I don't know what the best place to put it is, but I think I'm just going to move it to functions.py, where we define argument and flags anyway. It seems as reasonable as anything, and I don't see like general formatting utilities. So that's the very first thing we're going to do. The changes we made were in dump args. We passed flags to args.flag. In format, we added this test to return format flags value. So I think we're going to remove that, take format flags value. I've changed the implementation here a little bit and added some comments since the last video. That was the first comment that I addressed. Going back to functions.py, we're going to move this here. We're now going to make this public because we're going to have to import it from another module. I think the implementation can stay the same. And we'll probably change this to be argument now, since it's going to specifically be in the context of an argument. Then in dump args, rather than passing this here, we don't need that anymore. We can import pwndbg functions dot format flags argument, something like that. And if arg.flags else this arg.flags value. So yeah, if there's flags specified for the argument, don't go through the chain.format code path, just call our special flags formatting function directly. This says it's undefined, so I'm going to look at functions data. Yeah, it looks like I messed up the import. It's supposed to be pwndbg.lib.functions. And I totally messed up the syntax because I don't program Python. So if I do this, is this going to work? And I guess this should be up here now. So I think with that change, we should be able to run our existing tests, which I've already got a console backup to run those tests. And I think this should still pass. Yes, it does. So I think that is basically functionally equivalent, but has this requested change. Then There's another comment in my formatting code that apparently you can use this sort of syntax. It's like a Python format string, which, yeah, I'm not familiar with, but looks pretty reasonable to me. So that would be in functions.py now, and this would be here. And let's see if that changes the value at all. It does not. So we still get exactly the same value. And now we're just formatting into a string literal rather than appending strings, which seems to be the preference here. So this comment is done. Adding tests, I'm going to come back to this one. We are going to do this, but that's going to be a slightly bigger one. Should always be a tuple instead of a list. Why? What does that mean? First list. Oh, it's basically just an immutable list in Python, which makes sense. So if we come back to functions data, we do flags equals. Well, interestingly that they do it here as well. Like this is not the first place for mmap. We do, does this just work? Was not closed. Yes, it was. I just closed it. And does that need to go away then? Let's see if this runs. It does. So Python tuple type annotation. Tuple Python mutable list type annotation. It's the type annotation for it. May not be the ideal solution when using type in. Which corresponds to the type of the immutable interface. Collections.abc.sequence. Python tuple arbitrary length annotation. Can annotate variable length homogeneous tuples using the ... literal. Okay. Maybe that's what we want. So if we go here, can we do tuple flag ... Does this work? Seems to. Like I said, I'm not very familiar with Python, but that seems to be the answer. So this looks like we've taken care of. Let's actually see if I try to pass a list now, do I get an error? Tuple cannot be assigned to parameter flags. Couple flag or none. This looks way out of date. Yeah, it's really struggling to keep up on the analysis side. The lint should catch that. So we're going to try run the linters again. Apparently we didn't run them very well last time and some stuff snuck through, which is disappointing. Let's see if, I think there was just a lint.shell. Let's try run that again. Dump args imports are correctly. Okay. And then it has a -f. Or fixing. Hopefully that didn't do too much. Doesn't look like it did. We got some untyped errors, but that's about it. Okay. At least the lints ran this time. So let's go back to the ER. We did the lint. A tuple instead of a list. The other in the lint errors that he was pointing to here. The lint errors that I saw. Oh, this is interesting. This is just splitting the argument over multiple lines, which, yeah, that fixed that. Was that it wanted me to use double quotes for the string literals here. And extra spaces here, which I do remember removing, and I shouldn't have. Let's see if the linter added those back in. It did. This we've changed, but it would have been single quotes for string literals. This is spacing to get rid of these. Let's look at down here. That spacing's gone. Okay, so the only thing left to check are the assertions in the dump args test. And yes, these have all been updated to use double quotes. So from future import annotations in this test, it's supposed to just be one here. And now it's running all the other stuff that errors on types. So I think that's safe to ignore. Okay, let's go back because there's one other comment that we skipped over, which was tests. So specifically, let's look at what the unit test situation is here, which we didn't look at all. Test functions. Functions. Okay, so this is the lazy functions, I think, that are exported. So this is actually the right file. Now, how do I run unit tests? I think I remember something in the contributing guide. Let's go back here, and I think in developing, is there something here for unit tests? To invoke /unit tests. Yep. PyTest. So at this point, I spent about 20 minutes trying to figure out how to run the unit tests. I ran into a lot of the Python virtual env setup issues that I ran into in the first video on this project. And I totally forgot that I was running everything through Docker and that I could just try use Docker to run the unit test script. So I spent way longer than I should have, probably about 20 minutes trying to get all this up and running. And at the end of the day, just ended up running the unit test through Docker, which worked perfectly. So just speeding through this for you. Oh, there we go. Okay. That was a lot easier. Don't have to get everything configured on my local machine, can just run it using Docker. So now I have somewhere I can write a test. Format argument. Can I do? Does that work? Flag. Two. We want to test the behavior where there's a flag that's a combination. We want to test something that skips. So let's do 8. 8. And then let's do equals. I would expect this to be, if we do 0x0f, which is going to be flag 3 or flag 8 or oh, 0x04 and assert flags argument 0x0f flags 0x0f is formatted. Something like that. Yeah, so this does not the best formatting. Let's look at the bug really quick. Is the lowercase formatting, it's hard to tell. Yes, they use lowercase formatting. Hex for string. So if I go back to functions.py and look at my format string, which was this, if I do that, no, colon 0 to x. Zero F. Value. Number. Zero to x. Seems like what I want. but that just doesn't include the 0x. Prefix. The X indicate string should be hex. Left filled with zeros to a minimum length of 2. Map. Hex. It's not here. Padding and lining. Numbers, padding numbers. Similar strings that can be constrained to a specific width. I want multiples of 2 though, which is a little odd. So they just wanted me to do this. And this was just 0xf. I do this. Doesn't. Okay. Let's just do the format that they wanted. I don't know if Python format strings can do exactly what I would like. And now we get flag 3, flag 8. So I'm obsessed with spaces apparently. And F flag 3, flag 8, 0x4. Flag 3, flag 8, 0x4. One space. Am I just blind? They look the same to me. They are the same. I don't know. Is not right. Maybe. Yeah, probably just equals equals. Okay. Now this, we should update the type signature on format flags as well, which is going to be this now. I believe. That's good. Wants me to reorder minus, and it wants to split them all into different lines. Okay. And this probably goes first. Reformatted. Yeah, okay. Nothing. My editor keeps adding all these spaces, I guess. Okay. And this is the most complicated case. Is there a simpler case I want to add? In functions data.py. I thought I changed that. I must have changed it back to test. Whether the type annotations were working. Yeah, okay, so the first errors are already the untyped errors, which I think are okay. So now if I do dump args, does this still work? Yes. Okay, let's go back here. So we did this. We did this. We can add one more test maybe. We did. Okay. So in unit unit/function, this one, legs found, and let's do none of the legs are found. Let's do 128, and the expected is just going to be 0x4 because we passed 0x4. And two spaces. Still passes. Okay. Let's run the lints one more time with fix. Seems to work. I terminated it too soon. It didn't get to the untyped errors. Looks good. Okay, so I don't want to add pip files because they don't have them already. Okay, reorder, remove this. We actually, in chain.py, I don't think we're using flag at all anymore. We are, but only because I didn't remove the argument. So I think that can go away. That gets removed. Adding this to functions, we're using the expression he wanted, but the linter has split it over lines. We're adding some spacing. We're changing this to a tuple. This is the same version of the function we had before. This is spacing differently, and we're changing it to a tuple. And this is removing some unused imports, it looks like, and changing these to double quotes, the formatted format stays the same. We're adding 2 new unit tests. And that should be pretty good. Just a few moments. So I'm just going to go through and respond to the various comments, basically just saying that I did them all. Is this going to fail because of the untyped stuff? Yes. That's unfortunate because this is not an issue. And I don't, maybe I shouldn't have installed the hooks. What's the git list pre-commit hooks? Okay, let's just get rid of all this and do the push. Really? Update. Why would the remote have work that I don't have? That doesn't seem right. Whoa. That's um, oh, okay. Um, um, I don't know what this was done here. Move some stuff around. Okay. So I think I should have done the same thing in chain.py, except I should have removed that from chain.py. First command. In chain.py, I removed this and this, but now the import is not gone. Import. I think that should be good. Okay. I'll have to see how that goes. And now we can go back to the issue. No, the pull request. And actually, I should run the lints one more time because I made code changes just to make sure. Yeah, the issues are the imported types. So I think we've addressed all the comments. Yeah. Okay. So this is, yeah, like first follow-up video. I had some environment issues that were frustrating, but I think the overall fixes were pretty simple, and hopefully the change moves forward. I think I'm gonna stop it there. Thanks everyone for watching.